Welcome to Inspired Women Amazing Lives podcast, where we seek to thrive, flourish, and celebrate amazing women. Kimberly Wiggins here, and we are hosting inspired women who are sharing their lives and stories so that other women may know that the journey to your amazing life is definitely within reach. We are here every week to share resources and information that will help you along the journey to being that inspired woman leading an amazing life. Remember to like, comment, and most definitely share these episodes with another woman that you admire and one who truly inspires you. Or simply share it with someone you would like to inspire. Enjoy! Welcome to Inspired Women Amazing Lives podcast. And my guest today, oh boy, do I have a treat for you, lives right here in Atlanta with me, Candice Davis. Candice, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's great to be on.
Yes, and Candice is just super amazing. She is an author coach, and she helps coaches, speakers, and business owners like myself write great books to reach more people and earn more money. How clear is that? I want all those things. Share my struggles as we go along. So Candice has written 18 books for ghostwriting clients, edited dozens of books, and coached many more people to become successful authors. The name of her business is Go Write Something. Whew, I love it. Candice. Oh, I can't wait. All right, so let's get this out of the way. Share your story with us. Tell us how Candice became this great author coach.
I think like a lot of us, I loved books when I was a kid. Books were like my saving grace. They were when I was bored. They were when I was lonely. They were when, maybe there were some kids outside you'd rather not play with. You'd rather just stay inside.
Yes.
So I was often teased and called bookworm, and I learned to embrace that. But I never really thought I could be a writer, right? That seemed like something so far out of this realm. But in the 12th grade, good night, nurse, it might have been 11th grade, but I had this amazing English teacher who, first of all, told me that I could write, that I was a good writer, which was like, whoa, because that was out of the realm, right? And she was a strict, tough teacher who came over from the university to teach at our school. And then she took us to see, there was at the local college, there was a tour of African-American writers, including Amiri Baraka and Maya Angelou. And she took us to see them speak live. And it was like, whoa, authors are real people, right? So wait, if they're real people, there's a possibility I'm a real person, that maybe I could be one. But I got married young. I went into, I had kids young. And so I went into corporate America. And I did not hate corporate America. Like some people are like, no, I actually really loved it. Mm-hmm. But when I had my second child, I started homeschooling. And I took that as my opportunity to really dive deep into studying writing. And I studied with some amazing, amazing authors, really honed my craft, was really enjoying it and thinking, okay, one day I'm going to write great novels, right? And then I got a divorce, girl, and bills had to be paid. So I was like, I have to find a way to take this one single skill that I have and make some money. And so when I was offered, my first ghostwriting job was for this chef. Her name is Antonia LaFaso. She was one of the top 3 finalists on Top Chef. And she did that twice. She didn't pull off a win, but she came really close. And I feel like she was robbed 2 times in a row. That's just my opinion. But she wanted to write a cookbook. And a mutual friend who ended up becoming my husband a few years later introduced me to her. Pretty awesome. And that was my first ghostwriting job. And I was terrified, but I loved it. I put everything I had into it. We produced a great product. And the rest was history. I took any writing or editing job I could find, but I found myself coaching my clients along the way. So I started really studying coaching and getting some mastery of that so that I could also coach authors who didn't need me to write their books, didn't need me to even edit their books, but they really just needed some coaching.
Wow. That's an amazing story. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I so relate to you, Candace, when I was a kid. I'm number 10 of 10.
What?
Yes. And so nobody wanted to play with me. Nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody wanted to be with me. And so I had this huge imagination, and books were the thing that took me places. I mean,
absolutely.
I was talking about Taj Mahal and all these places, and my brothers and sisters were like looking at me like, what is she talking about?
I totally get it. We're on the same page, Kimberly. I'm telling you. These bookworms.
Yes. So I absolutely love books. So that leads me to your talking about ghostwriting. So you've done ghostwriting for quite a few people.
Yeah.
For quite a bit of people.
Yeah.
And tell us specifically what ghostwriting is and what is that like for a client to experience that?
So for me, ghostwriting, so it can be one of two things. Ghostwriting is a strictly confidential arrangement where my name does not appear anywhere on the book. I do the writing, the client gives me their information. I may have to do additional research, but primarily I interview the client, right? Because if I'm writing their memoir or a story based on their experience or their expertise, I have to get the information from them. So when it's a confidential arrangement, that's traditional ghostwriting. Sometimes it's a collaborative arrangement. And so I get credit so-and-so with Candice Davis. I'll get credit in that way, but the process is the same. Mm-hmm. So we come together. It's usually a really intensive first meeting or two because we've got to hammer out all the important things like, why are you writing this book? What is this book going to do for your readers? Because it's got to do something for the readers, not just for you, but what is the book also going to do for you? And I'm really, 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 really strict about creating a strong outline before we start writing anything. So through the interview process, I help my clients do that. We shape the outline, and I use that to create a series of questions. And we do interviews just like this on Zoom. I ask them the questions and use that information to write the book. Depending on the client, there may be a lot of back and forth with them making changes, or there may be no back and forth because I have some clients who are true wordsmiths and they care about every comma and every period and every preposition in every article, right? And I have other clients who just want a really great book written and they couldn't care less about whether you use a serial comma or not, right? You decide and just send me my great book. So right. That's the process. I will usually do some advising at the end of the process in terms of getting them through self-publishing, because that can be a little complicated if you've never done it before. Mm-hmm. Not necessary. If they have someone else they're working with, that's fine too. But if they don't, I'll walk them through that process as well.
That's nice. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now, now you mentioned self-publishing. So are most of the authors that you work with self-publishing, or all of them? Basically?
No, not all of them. Some of them do have traditional publishing deals, which that has pros and cons for me and pros and cons for them. So I charge self-publishing clients a little bit less, but they have to pay me out of their own pocket. With traditional publishing, when they have their own deal with, say, HarperCollins or Penguin Books, then I just get a percentage of their advance. So that takes a lot of pressure off of them from having to come up with money to pay me. They don't. It just comes out of their advance. With traditional publishing, it takes a lot longer to get your book to market. It's probably going to take 2 years after you sell the book to the publisher, I know, to get it to market, unless it's a particularly trendy subject, or as a couple of my clients have done, they've had incredibly successful self-published books, and then publishers have come along and offered them publishing contracts. And so that got to market a lot faster because they'd already proven their success and the book was already written and probably already edited and just needed minor changes, right? But most of the people are self-publishing because they want to get the book to market faster because they really wanted to help them grow their business.
Very nice. Okay. I really, really like that process.
Yeah, me too.
I need a ghostwriter.
Not, stop it. You do not. Stop it.
So you do ghostwriting, but then you actually coach. So how do you actually help? How do you actually coach people to write their books?
So I take them through very similar process to what I use with the ghostwriting clients. They're just doing the writing. But I worked really specifically with them to get that outline done and all that pre-writing work, like defining their target market, how their book is going to serve their reader, how their book is going to serve them, what they're actually going to use the book for in terms of growing their business or promoting their platform or whatever. So they know what to include in it so that there's no confusion. That outline has to be really strict. So I help them. And it can change, right? It just needs to be specific before you get started so you have a path to follow. So I help them get all of that in place, and then they can send me their work as they're writing. So every 2 weeks we'll meet via Zoom, but in between they can send me their work. I'll review it, give them some feedback so they can make it as strong as they can be, because I don't believe in people publishing bad books. It just makes my skin itch to have, brilliant people publish bad books just because they don't know something about the book writing process. It's my job to make sure they publish the very best book that they can. So I give them feedback along the way. If they need help in the self-publishing process, just like I do with my ghostwriting clients, I'll walk them through it. But they're actually doing the writing themselves. I'm not doing it for them. When they get stuck, like they have moments of writer's block or they just can't get motivated, really, I need them to reach out to me so I can get they can text me or email me anytime they're stuck. So there's no reason to ever be stuck because I will coach them through it.
Very nice. Now, audience, in full transparency, I will tell you, I have spoken to Candace before because I have a book project that I'm working on. And it is not a business project. Let me say that. And so it's kind of like I want to cut my teeth on something, and it's a passion project for me. And so I'd spoken to Candice about it, and so I was supposed to be editing this book before I send it to Candice to edit. And that was probably about 2 months ago. I'm going to be honest with you. And this is the problem, Candice.
Okay.
I felt, I was supposed to go back. We talked about this. I said I was going to edit those pages before I send it to you. I was going to edit it, get it bounded, let 2 people at least, 2 or 3 people review it. And it's a daily devotional. And so, but here's the thing. I can't make myself do it, Candice, because I feel like I was done with the book when I finished it. I was like, I'm done. I was like, oh, I'm so done.
I get that feeling. I've had that feeling about 18 times.
Oh, gosh.
But here's the thing. I think, so it's always difficult when you have like a very specific launch date that you have to meet the time frame, right? Because you don't get to take any time off from your book. But I think it is a very good idea to take that time off before you do your so Kimberly's saying she wants to edit it before she sends it to the editor, but that makes sense. And the reason why it makes sense is because she's probably going to find some things that need to be changed before you send it to the editor. It doesn't make sense to pay an editor, have them send it back to you, and now you're going, oh, that's not what I meant. And then you have to pay an editor again because you're making significant changes. So you're doing the right things. You're doing the right things by having your beta readers or first readers look at it before it comes back to you. And you're doing the right thing by taking some time off and stepping away from the manuscript. And now your time is up. So I would just ask you, when you think about sitting down to write it, right? You think, but I'm done with that, right? That's your thought that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you feel when you think that?
I feel like I just want to package it up and give it to somebody else to read. I really do.
Do you feel bored with it? What's like the emotion that goes along with it?
It's like I don't know. It's just like I don't want to do it. It's just one of those things I don't want to do.
You feel resistant?
Yeah, it is.
So then what do? Do you sit around thinking about it, or do you just...
I move on and do something else.
Okay. So you move on and do something else. And then ultimately, what's the result you get from moving on and doing something else?
I'm usually productive with something else I end up doing. I make it count. And Do I ever come back to it and pick up the book? No. But I'll say, okay, tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow.
But you still feel resistant because you don't really want to do it tomorrow.
No, I don't. And I actually, I put time in my calendar and everything for it.
Girl, you're doing all the right things.
I do. But then it's like, but okay. Candice, I feel like you have given me permission. You're like, you've taken time off from this book. So it's time for me to go back.
When do you want to be done with it? What result would you like to see? When would you like it to go out to your beta readers?
If I could get it out to my beta readers, actually by the end of September. By the end of September.
Oh,
I think it's doable if I could get it out to them, because that way I could get a response back from them and I could have you edit it, and I could actually be finishing up, because I do have a lot of downtime during the holidays. So and I'm in this relaxed mode. I'm like,
summertime.
Yeah, it's probably, summertime is not a relaxing time for me. So it'll probably help a lot to be able to do some things with the self-publishing and work with you on that during the holidays.
Okay, so
you may not be available, but as much as you can.
Listen, I'll make myself available. We'll work it out. But given your desire to have it done by the end of September, can you do it even though you don't feel like it?
I'm going to do it. I feel like you've given me permission to do it today. Okay. So I'm going to do it.
I'm going to check back with you, right?
I know you are. That is the thing. I know you are. An audience, this is, I really appreciate Candace for this, because I really
note on my calendar.
She is writing it down. I can't believe this. Because I do really want to get this out. I have another book project that I'd like to get started during the first of the year. Now, that one I am excited about, and I have already purposed in my mind that in January, I'm starting this book project. And Candice, we may have to do a little bit of coaching on that, simply because I need to make sure the outline. You keep stressing that. When I spoke to you before, you stressed that, to make sure that the outline is solid.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I come from a background. So I don't know if did you ever read White Oleander by Janet Fitch? It was an Oprah book club pick back in the early 2000s. So the author of that book, it's a literary fiction book. It's Janet Fitch. She was my mentor when I was studying literature. She was one of 3 mentors I had. So it was Janet Fitch, Mary Waco, and Barbara DeMarco Barrett, all literary fiction background, right? Award-winning authors. I was incredibly fortunate to be able to study with them. They all came from this background of no outlines. They all wrote fiction. They all wrote with no outlines. They all took like 10 years to write a book. And I'm not saying that with any amount of exaggeration at all. Like, it was years and years. And there is nothing wrong with that when you're writing a beautiful novel and you're winning huge prizes for it, or your book's being made into movies and things like that. Janet had 2 of her books made into movies, deservedly so. Every award they've won, they've deserved. But those of us who are writing our books and have many books we want to write, or writing our books and want to use them to build our platform, we can't afford to do that. And what you'll find is if you don't have that strong outline, you'll get somewhere to the middle and you will be lost. And I mean lost in the weeds, trying to figure out what do I write next and how does one thing connect to the other. I learned this from my incredibly smart husband, who's a screenwriter. And when we met, screenwriters, if you don't know, they storyboard, right? But okay, let me skip over storyboarding. When they're even just writing the screenplay, in the old school, they would take index cards and corkboard every scene on a corkboard, right? Every single scene, so they could move them around or do whatever they needed to do. Very specific story structure and outlining. Well, when we met, I was coming from the no outline background, and he was like, "You're crazy." He's like, "That's why you never finish a book, because you don't use an outline." And he was 100% correct. I've got like 5, 6, 7 books on my hard drive that never were finished because I started them back when I was doing that no outline process. It is the key. I mean, you would not start a business without some kind of plan. You would not create a course without breaking down what you're going to include in the course. It's the very same thing. And you're not married to it. If you get in the middle and you decide, oh, these chapters need to be switched, switch them. Or this story doesn't belong here, take it out. It's not a big deal, but you have to have some kind of roadmap that you're following, or you're going to be wandering totally lost. And it's going to take you 5, 6, 7 times longer to write the book than it needs to take. That's not doing you or your readers any good.
Right. I agree. That makes sense. Yeah. So, well, we've learned so much.
Oh, my soapbox, girl.
Yes. And I feel like I'm going to get to work. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, Candice, tell me from your perspective, how much a book really benefits someone's business when they're actually presenting a book to the world with their business.
So you said the key part, presenting the book to the world, because I have seen many people, not my clients, knock wood, but many people write books and then sit back going la, 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 waiting for people to find it and for it to do something for them. That does not work. A book is like any other product or platform. You've got to promote it, right? You've got to let people know that it's there. But when you're willing to do that, from my experience, writing a book is the #1 best way. Well, I'm sorry, short of getting a PhD, it's the #1 best way of being positioned as an expert in your niche. And I don't think everybody needs to get a PhD. If you need one, get one. But if you're an expert on something, even if it's your life story that you write, it doesn't have to be a how-to book. So I've had a client who wrote his memoir. He was a coaching client, so I coached him through the process of writing his memoir. That memoir got him on 3 nationally syndicated talk shows, which he had never been on to talk about himself before, right? Never. One of them he had been on, but for other reasons. 2 of them he couldn't get on until he wrote that book. It's helped him expand his speaking business because a lot of the places where he speaks, they want you to have some kind of content you can present that people can buy. And he doesn't do online courses or anything like that. He's a business owner, and his speaking is kind of almost like his give back. But he can show up and now have books. And he's sold thousands of his independently published book. So it has become an income stream for him. It has gotten him speaking gigs he couldn't otherwise have gotten. It's gotten him exposure for himself and his business. On the nationally syndicated shows are great, but he's also been on local radio, local TV, podcasts, all that stuff. And he wrote his book 2 years ago. And because he didn't just do a launch and forget about it, as a lot of people do, because they're just trying to hit a number on Amazon, but he's continued to promote his book, so it continues to sell and continues to promote his platform. I've had clients sell as many as 50,000 copies of their book over a course of 2 or 3 years because they promote it and they use it to build their exposure. It can really position you as the expert in your niche like nothing else. Now, I've had other clients who give their books away for free. I mean, these are good books, like solid content, but they use them to drive people to their other offers. And in doing that, they sell. So I have one client here in Atlanta who has a $15,000 a year mastermind. Well, he's happy to give away books if it gets one person into his mastermind.
Oh yeah.
He's made his money back and then some.
Yes.
You know, so it's depending on how you want to use it, there are a lot of ways, but you can use it to mainly to create a new income stream, to drive people to your products and services, and to really get exposure and visibility for your business. Very
nice. Yeah, those are all very good points, Candace. And yeah, I know quite a few people who their goal is to just reach a number on Amazon.
And it's not a bad goal, but it's just not enough. Because here's the thing, if you're in a sub niche, so, you know, Amazon's broken down into categories and niches, their books. And if you hit #1 in a sub niche, in some categories, there's no competition there. So you can do that by selling 5 books in one day. So you've not made any money. You've not really exposed the world to your brilliance yet. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it just can't be your primary goal.
Right.
It doesn't change your business the way you really want a book to change your business.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective. Thank you for that. That makes sense. Now, your program, is that your coaching program, your short book, big results program?
Yeah, I do one-on-one coaching, but that's not for everybody. That's a little bit more expensive. You got to have the time and money and energy to invest in that. So
Mhm.
this is a group program. So that it has videos that walk you through the process, but then we have monthly coaching calls where you can ask whatever you want to ask, and always can email me. Like, I just try to always be available to my clients if they have a question, because you can't wait a whole month to get your question answered.
Right.
So they always can email me. But again, it's the exact same process that I use when I'm ghostwriting a book, the exact same process that I use when I'm coaching someone to write their book one-on-one. And I'm a big fan for independent published books. I'm a big fan of short books because I'm finding that a lot of readers in the YouTube age and the Instagram age are not interested in reading 300 pages, especially if it's a how-to book. They just want you to give them what they need with a little story to keep it interesting and pull them through. But a lot of people don't want to read long books. They won't finish them, so they won't get the value. So I'm a big pusher of short books.
Oh, nice. Ooh, I like that.
Makes it easier too.
Uh-huh. I'm filing that thought away. Um, so give me your opinion on this, Candace. Book writing has gone through this evolution over time, and we talked a little bit about traditional publishing and self-publishing. Can you kind of tell me from your perspective, your opinion, what do you see the evolution of book writing? Where is it now, and where do you see it moving in the future?
So I would say maybe 15 years ago, people were saying books were dying and books were a dying breed and no one was going to read anymore. And it was just all lies. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that it was not true, that people are still reading books, whether they're short books or long books, people are still reading them. So what I've seen with self-publishing really removing, one of my clients wrote a book called The Gatekeepers Are Gone. And he was talking about the fact that the people who could prevent you from making a movie or writing a book or starting a podcast, because you had to have permission, right, to use their network or to use their publishing tools or whatever the case may be, we don't need them anymore. Those gatekeepers are gone. So there are way more books coming out. I think it's going to continue to grow, that the publishing field is going to continue to grow. There can continue to be lots of bad books, not because people don't care about their writing, but because maybe they just don't know. Some people don't care. They just want to get something out there, and those tend to not be people in our community. So like, you and I have a lot of the same friends. They're very professional. They're not going to put anything out there without their name on it. And frankly, Amazon reviews will destroy those books. So we don't really they will. People will let you know in Amazon reviews, it's garbage. I've gotten bait switched before where I bought a book. It's one of the worst things ever, where you buy a book and it promises to teach you something and you read 200 pages only to find, if you really want to know how to do it, you're going to have to take my course. The lies you tell, I will not be taking your course, nor will I ever buy anything from you again, because you promised to teach me something in this book and you didn't. So I think there's going to be more of that, but I think the consumer response will kind of squash it, and people are going to take advantage of resources to really write great books and continue to publish lots of books. Where people might have published one book or one book every few years, a lot of authors are going to publish more because they don't need anyone's permission to get it out there anymore.
I love the thought of that, yes, because there was this point in time where they were saying, oh, Kindle came out and it was like, oh, no more books. Yeah. And bookworms like you and I, okay, so this is how I use my Kindle. Someone will tell me about a great book. Yeah. I'll go on Kindle, I'll buy the book on Kindle, and I'll start reading it. And if it is a really great book, I'm buying the hardcover. I'm buying the book.
We're the same person. We are the same person, because I do that too.
Because Candace, when it's a really great book, I've got to write in the book, even if it's a fiction book.
Yeah.
I write in the book. It's my book.
I'm with you 100%. We moved into this house and there's not enough room for my books. So I've got like 20 boxes of books still in the garage, but they're all open because I'm always searching through them for something that I have to read. Like, I saw the Toni Morrison documentary like maybe a week before she passed away. And then I had to go find all my Toni Morrison books and I couldn't find them, which let me know that my daughter had stolen them.
Oh.
So I'm going to I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to replace them. I'm going to just get my own, start fresh, let her have them. It's fine. But I do think that, I do read on Kindle because it's a good way for me to read when I'm going to sleep, and I can just fall asleep and not worry about it. But if it's a great book, I'm like you. I will order the actual physical book, and I love having it in my hands. My children, who are of the digital age, will not read ebooks. They want a book in their hands.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They want a book in their hands. They don't fool with ebooks. They ask for books for Christmas. They want the book. Don't you send them a Kindle book?
Oh, nice. That's nice to know. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought that, the millennials of this digital age and all this stuff, they were so into that. That's nice.
Not my kids. So.
Nice. Very nice. Now, Candice, when are we you talked about all those books that you have on your drive. When are we going to see a book that says Candace? And I know it's going to be a great book because it took you 10 years to write it. So it's going to be a great book. It's going to be a bestseller.
Oh, that's a lovely thought. Speak it, girl. Speak it into existence. I have published fiction. So I've published a collection of short stories. I've published a collection under my pen name because, I published some under my name, and then I published some under a pen name because the second set are very different from the first. Okay. And I didn't want to scare off people to be like, oh, that is not what we expected.
Yes. Oh, that's what you would use a pen name for.
Yes. So they're dark stories, but they're dark stories sort of like in the horror genre, but always with a moral to the story was kind of my goal. And it was an experiment. I loved it. I had fun. Those are written. But I do have 2 books on the hard drive. One is a writing book for business owners, and one is just a writing book for people who want to write better. Oh. And my goal is to have that business one out by the end of 2019. So
very nice. I can't wait to get that one. You're doing that for me. Thank you.
You get to check up on me on that one.
Okay. And now I feel so much better about all of that now. Yeah, I get to check up on the coach.
Yes, you do.
Yes. So Candice has a free gift for everyone. It's called Jumpstart Your Book. It is a quick guide to help you get your ideas on the page and to really become an author. So if you've been thinking about it, you can head over to Candice's website, and I will have all of this information on our podcast page. Candice L. Davis, just the way it sounds, CandiceLDavis.com, and you can get her free gift. It will help you jumpstart your business. So if you've been thinking about writing a book and you don't know where to start, this is it. Really good.
I just really believe that everyone who wants to write a book should do it. Now, if you don't want to write a book, don't do it. Like, I'm not here to shove that down anybody's throat or demand that they do it. Right. But I believe everyone has a story that's worth telling that other people can benefit from. And every single person, if you're past like 7 years old, has a body of knowledge that other people can benefit from. So some combination of those 2 things will be your first great book. And I just think if you want to do it, you shouldn't let anything stop you. And Jumpstart will help you get started and really figure out what you're writing about. That's
nice. Very, very nice. I will put all of Candice's information. She's on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Coach Candice L. Davis, Instagram, Candice L. Davis, Facebook, Coach Candice L. Davis. And I'll put all of that information on our podcast page as well. So Candice, before we sign off, I want to talk about, you have a favorite motivational quote, and you have been buying something unusual. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm shopping. I haven't bought it yet, but I am obsessed with vintage typewriters. So I have one, but it's not a working typewriter. So my husband, he's a screenwriter, so he had one left from a set but it doesn't work, and I just love looking at it. But I want to actually have the feeling of typing, and I really want a pink typewriter. So I know she's looking at me like, girl, but I do. And so I follow all these vintage typewriter sellers on Instagram, and I'm just waiting for the perfect one to pop up, and then I'm going to jump on it.
And you want to actually type?
I love it. I actually, for a while on my previous laptop, had an app that made typewriter sounds while you typed. And there was something so beautiful and musical and lulling about that. And I miss the physicality of it. So I wouldn't type everything, but I would like it to have it for certain things. Sometimes I write by hand. I'd like to have also the option to type on a typewriter.
Very nice. That is very nice. I mean, I love the way you said there was something musical about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Really
So now you have a favorite quote, and I love this quote actually. It's you have everything you need to get everything you want. How true is that?
It's so true. And I like to say it. I write it in birthday cards and things like that. And I like to say it to remind myself, because sometimes I forget. You have everything you need to get everything you want. I really believe, I'm a woman of faith, and I believe God has given us everything we have and need to get everything we want. Our desires are divinely placed. And God would not give us those desires without giving us the resources and abilities to make them come true. But we have to do the work. So behind everything we need to get everything we want, you have all the information, all the resources, all the help. You have me to get your book done. You want that book done. You have everything you need to get it done. Now it's just doing the last bit of work. So I've found that it's 100% true. Those desires are divinely placed. God has given us the ability to get them and bring them to fruition. And I just have to remind myself sometimes, you have everything you need to get everything you want.
That is going to go on my wall of quotes. Yes, because I need to be reminded of that. Because you know what happens, Candace, is a lot of times, and really now that I think of me not finishing this book, it may be some self-sabotage in there, because I may be thinking, do I really want to publish my name on a book and put it out there? Who am I to do that? And so just thank you for that reminder. I think that's a great reminder for us all, and we need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah. So, Candice, it was so good having you here. You just gave a ton of information. Audience, if you're thinking about writing a book, get her free gift. Reach out to Candice. Candice is super easy to talk to, as you can see, and she loves book writing. And so she will help you. Before we sign off, Candice, if you could give my audience one quick tip that they could put in place today, I'd appreciate it.
Well, you're not going to be surprised by this tip, but it is, before you start writing one word of your book, get your outline solidified and detailed on paper before you start writing. It's going to save you so much time, effort, energy, frustration in the book writing process. And it's worth the time to do that pre-writing work so that you know exactly what you're going to write when you sit down for your writing session. Just get that outline nailed down.
That is a great tip, and that's why I told you we're gonna have to coach on that, because that to me is boring.
Oh my gosh, she stabbed me in my heart.
I'm sorry. I just want to start writing. So, but I see the purpose of it. Yes, you're so right, because I want to start writing, and once I start writing, I'm going to get to a point where it's like, all right, I got it all out. What's next?
Now what?
Yeah, and I've probably done one chapter. So it's like, and I don't know where to go next. So that is why I see the importance of it. That's why I say I know when I start my book in January, that's one of the first things I'll do. We'll have a coaching session so I can nail out that outline.
We definitely will.
All right. Thank you so much, Candice, for being my guest today. It has been a big pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, audience, thank you for joining us for Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast. Make sure to comment, share, and like, and share this with a woman that inspires you. Keep inspiring others. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast, where we help women to be truly inspired to live their most amazing lives. Please subscribe to the podcast to be notified of new content each and every single week. Feel free to like, comment, and share with the woman who inspires you most. I hope to see you on the next episode. Have a wonderful day.